We are so pleased to welcome you to this virtual open house for our administrative Clear Credential program offered in collaboration with the Educational Leadership Department at San Diego State University. Since 2005, NCUST, the National Center for Urban School Transformation, has been identifying amazing elementary, middle, and high schools that generate great learning results for all demographic groups of students: Black students, Latinx students, white students, Asian students, students with emerging bilingualism, students with disabilities, students from low-income households, and many, many others. It's been our honor to identify, award, study, and learn from great educators who truly are generating multiple evidences of both equity and excellence. Our mission is to help many more schools generate outstanding learning results for all their students. Not surprisingly, in every one of the schools we award, we have seen impressive leadership. In our book, Leadership in America's Best Urban Schools, we endeavor to describe how leaders make a difference. We try to describe in depth what leaders did and how their practices differed from what we see in more typical schools. It's clear to us that academic success is not an accident. It is a direct result of leaders who work wisely with teachers, support staff, parents, students, and other administrators to create cultures, systems, and structures that make success likely. We have learned so much from the schools we have awarded, and we continue to learn even more. We have designed this Clear Administrative Services Credential program to meet all the requirements of the Commission on Teacher Credentialing and to help you generate impressive learning results for the students you serve. We hope to support leaders who want to do more than just check the boxes required to clear their credential. We want to serve leaders who are committed to making a difference. This is why we have designed this program to focus on the real problems of practice you encounter in your school. It's why we feature one-on-one coaching provided by an experienced leader who has spent years helping leaders help students excel. Also, this is why we've structured this program to provide you unique opportunities to learn from award-winning principals who've generated impressive results that are transforming students' lives. And this is why we've structured the program in a way that creates a real professional learning community for the participating candidates. We are thrilled to offer this program, and we are even more thrilled to see you join our growing list of successful graduates who are helping transform schools and school districts across the state, some of whom you will get to meet shortly. Many years ago, I learned that good leaders strive to build a team of smart, dedicated people. Our success here at NCUST is due to an amazing team of executive coaches and staff members. It's my pleasure to introduce you to one of those outstanding executive coaches who will guide you through this open house. Kara Riggs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kara Riggs, and I have been a proud executive coach at NCUS since 2014. 6 years ago, I retired from the Omaha Public Schools, and it was there that I had a 30-year career, beginning as a high school English teacher. My roles in school administration included assistant principal and both middle and high school principalships. All of our executive coaches have had long careers in school and district leadership. I'd like to welcome you to our informational open house. We're happy to have you join us, and we hope you leave today having all of the questions you may have answered for you. And I must tell you that though we have multiple initiatives that our center leads, we're very proud of the support we're able to give to leaders like you, beginning your careers in school administration and needing to clear your California credential. Personally, as an executive coach, it is so fulfilling to be able to be the outside, safe support of my candidates as they begin to make their own marks on their own work to create outstanding school and district outcomes for all of the students that they serve. Our whole team takes the work very personally and believe that the connections that we make with all of you are so important. We're also fortunate to have with us today 3 recent graduates of our program. All 3 of these women have done outstanding things in their districts and their schools and contributed greatly to the Tier 2 cohorts they were part of. We're pleased today to have with us Mrs. Marguerita Laurent. She's the principal at North Mountain Middle School and was actually an assistant principal when she began the program. Mrs. Amy Rose is principal at Park Hill Elementary School, also part of the San Jacinto district, and also began as an assistant principal in our program. Ms. Liz Wong, she's assistant principal at Montgomery Middle School in Sweetwater. Also today we have Dr. Shirley Peterson, another executive coach with NCUS. Dr. Rachel Stewart, she's the program coordinator and your connection at SDSU in the Ed Leadership Department. And Karen Jones, who's our Director of Operations at NCUS and also a frequent contact that you'll have throughout the program. And now I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Dr. Shirley Peterson.
Hi again. It's really a pleasure to join you today as a part of our open house to introduce our Tier 2 program to potential candidates. A little bit about myself. I started education as a teacher, teaching biology and physical education, moving then into administration, serving at the district level as a director, and then as an assistant principal. I was fortunate to become principal at 2 high schools. And after that, I joined the district at a time when a new superintendent was coming aboard. My title was instructional leader, but it was akin to being an assistant superintendent. The exciting things that we engaged in primarily was introducing a K-12 literacy program, and also working on high school reform. I've worked at a couple of universities supporting Tier 1 and Tier 2 candidates prior to joining NCUS 9 years ago, and was an executive coach working with the Tier 2 program at its inception. Thank you for coming today, and I'm sure that by the end of today, we will answer all of your questions about what we do at NCUS, and in particular, the Tier 2 program. So as Jill has shared, we use what we've learned from the schools we study and partner with school district leaders, coaching them so that they can emulate the practices found in these high-performing schools. An extra value of the NCUS Clear Credential program is that our candidates also learn and can apply the high-performing school research during the 2 years that we work with you. Our Tier 2 program is a critical component of our work at NCUS to ensure that future leaders like yourselves are imbued and are able to lead through a lens of equity and excellence, and are armed with the knowledge and skills to enable all students under your care to be successful in school and in life. What makes our program unique? Well, there are 4 components that we believe are unique about our program. One is you receive one-on-one coaching by one of the executive coaches. There are monthly network meetings, and you'll hear more details about that and how it contributes to the success of our candidates. Then we support you throughout the 2 years in designing and completing successfully your individual induction plan, or as we refer to it, the IIP. You also have the opportunity as a part of our Tier 2 program to learn by attending our NCUS symposium and visiting award-winning schools.
So let's take some time to hear from our graduates. We believe that our best marketers are those that have been in the program with us. First, as Shirley mentioned, a unique component of our program is the one-on-one coaching that each candidate takes part in throughout the 2-year program. So we're going to Marguerita, I believe you were assigned to answer the question around one-on-one coaching. Can you tell us what your experience was and the value of having a coach for your 2-year program?
Sure, thank you. I'm Marguerita Laurent, and one of the benefits of the one-on-one coaching was the fact that it was always a safe place to gain perspective. Coach always allowed me to share it with confidence and provided me that perspective that I needed that would align to my position here as a principal now. It also gave me an opportunity to kind of dig in deeper at a deeper level of understanding of how things align to the work at the site, which was really good. At the time I was an assistant principal. So a lot of the work that we did during that one-on-one time, the conversations we had really took it to a deeper level. It also allowed me, my coach, to support me with improving the specific skills that I needed at the time in order to perform my job at a different level. Like, for instance, maybe having crucial conversations with individual, how to go about doing that, or what to look for in a classroom. And then just really focusing on the professional goal as well as my personal goals during the time of this program. I really appreciated that time with my coach. And I think it's one of the great pieces of this whole NCUS program, because you're able to have those conversations at any time. And the coach was always available as needed, as whenever I needed, to support me.
Thanks, Marguerita. Additionally, another component of our program is the monthly participation in a network with other administrators who are facing, frankly, similar work realities and the same challenges. So these cohort meetings are designed to support your leadership growth and development. Again, like I mentioned earlier, in a safe atmosphere. And we have embedded the California professional standards for educational leaders and the NCUS research from high-performing urban schools. Liz, would you mind sharing your experience as a participant in those monthly network collaborative meetings?
Yeah, hello everyone. Again, my name is Liz Long, and the way the monthly network meetings worked is that we all got together from our different sites to one site once a month, and it was rotating through, so we got to see all of the different sites that our cohort members were a part of. And you know, I know a lot of times you think, oh gosh, the last thing I need is another meeting, but that is not how this time was seen, at least for me, and I think the other people in my cohort. It was really a time that we were able to block off and just have this collaborative time to get off campus and really think through problems. I think that's probably the hottest commodity as an administrator, is just time to think, because it seems like so often things are just coming at you so fast. And so we were able to do this in that safe environment that you just heard about. The other thing that I really valued from it was that we were able to learn new protocols that I was then able to take back to my site and instill with our leadership team. And so we did protocols about thinking out problems, walkthroughs, because we did walkthroughs together during our monthly network meetings. We would talk about how you could pose questions to teachers, and then of course we would practice that with each other, which is just a phenomenal thing to be forced to do, because it's something that we all probably need practice with. And then really identifying, of everything that you're observing with a teacher, what do you think are their next best steps in order to make the most significant gains? And so working through those problems of practice at these monthly network meetings was absolutely invaluable. And then of course, you know, no two schools are alike, and they cater to different populations and they have different needs. And so to be able to step into someone else's shoes and see how they're facing the problems that are addressed in their community is also really beneficial, because some of their problems I've never had, I've never experienced. And so I assume one day I'll be in their shoes and I'll have some resources or some ideas on how to address those. But all in all, I mean, you're talking about a group of people who are there to really listen to what your problem of practice is, and then work with you on developing ways that you're going to address it. And, you know, as my cohort meeting, as long as we did, we became really close. And these are still people that I communicate with. We actually have more than monthly meetings now, but we're still talking about different problems of practices that we face, and keeping that little network going.
Thank you, Liz. Would anyone else like to add to that, Marguerita or Amy?
I'd like to add that I have to agree that I really, really looked forward to every meeting. It didn't seem like a chore or something that I wasn't looking for. I really enjoyed it. And I commuted from San Jacinto all the way to San Diego. And that drive was nothing to me, because I really felt like it was meaningful conversations and just sharing ideas and collaboration time, that it like I said, it was just very, I just really looked forward to that time together.
Thank you, Marguerita. The third element is the work around a cumulative project throughout the 2-year experience. And for some people, if a job changes, we become flexible with what that plan might be at your new site. So I thought that was something that you'd want to know: what happens if I change jobs? This is where, in this project, the coach works with you to identify an element within each one of the capsules, those leadership standards, helping you articulate measurable goals to create and begin to implement a plan of action throughout the 2 years. This is referred to, as Shirley mentioned earlier, as your individual induction plan or your IIP. Amy, would you share your experience developing and finishing up and even presenting your IIP?
Yes, thank you, Kara. The process of developing the IIP, I think if I could describe it in 2 ways, is it was attainable and it was admin friendly. Because when you're in, like Liz was sharing earlier, when you're in the work, you want some time and some space to do the work, time to think about the work, reflect on the work. And the IIP is directly related to the actual work that I was doing. And the benefit of those positive outcomes, it was never considered extra work. And so you determine a focused goal, you work with your coach. And that's a perfect example with what Kara was sharing. Is my job position did change in that process, and I was able to work with my coach and adapt and adjust. Those goals are personal to the work you're doing. So it doesn't feel like it's just one more thing. I set a leadership goal, created action steps, and you're collecting evidence of the work that you were doing. So it really felt personal, and it felt attainable. And in that process, you reflect on those challenges and successes that you learned. For example, in my role, I had to oversee attendance policies. And so I used evidence from the work that I was already doing with school-wide incentives or parent meetings or trainings, and made it relatable. And I was able to reflect on that, which I think is where we grow in our positions and our roles. Is when we have that time to reflect. And then you get to present that to your peers, and you get to receive additional feedback. Of course, a lot of kudos and validation for the work that you did. And so it was, along with the other two components, the one-on-one coaching and the collaboration, it's just really a well-rounded, gives you every aspect of what you need as you're trying to clear your credential.
I think it's always such a fun experience to see the candidates present their work that they've done for 2 years, and it's kind of an eye-opener, like, wow, I really did work hard. So people are real proud to do those portfolio presentations at the end. The final element that we're really proud to include in our program is what we feel is really rich professional development opportunities that overlap so authentically the capsules, those California leadership standards, with the practices that NCUST has found in the near 170 high-performing urban schools that we've awarded and celebrated. We've often given candidates an opportunity to participate and or visit some of those award-winning schools and the principals that led them. We also encourage our Tier 2 candidates to register for and learn from the year's award winners and their staffs by attending the NCUST America's Best Urban Schools Symposium that we hold each spring. This year's will be held virtually in the spring. So now that you've heard about what we believe to be unique elements about the NCUST Tier 2 program, I'm hoping that you're excited enough to want to hear how to enroll. So please let me introduce to you now Dr. Rachel Stewart, who will be your contact and support right out of the SDSU Ed Leadership Department. Rachel?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rachel Stewart, and I am with the Educational Leadership Department at San Diego State University. My role in this program is to really help guide you through the logistics of everything. So from the start of your program, when you apply and complete that application, I am the one who reviews that application for admission. From the time you enter the program, you will receive constant communication from me, help guiding you throughout the program. And at the end of the program, when you are done with everything, I will be that connection between NCUST, San Diego State Ed Leadership Department, and our Credentials Department, where you will receive the credential recommendation. So just to give a broader picture of what all of that looks like, we do have a program timeline, and our program is 2 years in length. Induction does have to be 2 years, as mandated by CTC. In university language, 2 years translates into 4 semesters. So whether you are starting in the fall or spring semester, you will have completed a total of 4 semesters with us for the induction program. And as you can see, I don't know if it's large enough, but each semester does highlight requirements that need to be submitted and or completed. So starting with semester 1 all the way through semester 4, you will have completed 80 plus hours of induction. How do we track that? There is a log that is submitted every semester from semester 1 to 4 at the end of each semester. So fall semester logs are typically due towards mid-December, around December 10th, and spring logs are typically due around mid-May. And so that's how we keep track of your progress, and that's how we also show CTC that you have made that progress throughout the 2 years and you are receiving that support from your coaches and the professional development. Another item each semester that is due will be your invoice for the coaching mentorship fees, and my colleague Karen will be covering that next. And then lastly, the one requirement that is different from all other semesters, which is due at the first semester, is that individualized induction plan, which was discussed earlier. So I am here to support you throughout the way. I am very excited to see applications coming in. We are always excited to admit more people and different school districts. So it's a pleasure meeting you all, and thank you so much.
Let me introduce Karen Jones. She is our operations director in the NCUST office. Karen?
Hi, my name is Karen Jones, and I'm the Director of Operations with the National Center for Urban School Transformation. And I'm responsible for all of the Tier 2 billing. Once your application has been approved by Rachel, I will then assign an executive coach and send you an email that will include your acceptance letter welcoming you to the program, your payment schedule, which will include your coaching fees for the 2-year program, and your first invoice. And should you have any questions regarding any invoice, payments, or billing, please don't hesitate to contact me.
All right, so you've heard about the program, each of our, what we believe are unique components. And now I want to answer some frequently asked questions, and I think also answer along at the same time some of the things that you indicated you were most interested in at the poll. So what happens if my job changes? Well, you already heard that is just a smooth transition. Your coach works with you to modify your IIP plan depending on what your responsibilities are as you start in a new position. And you just continue through being supported by your coach, completing the requirements. And as you heard from one of our past candidates, presenting your portfolio at the end of the 2 years. You also heard about the network, and the question is how many people are in the network. I've had upwards of 8 candidates in a network. I think that number is robust and really allows for a lot of opportunities for candidates to see what happens in different schools. We have candidates who are working at elementary, middle, and high school joining together because we know oftentimes in our career, we don't just stay stuck at one level. And sometimes we are able to ask for or acquire experiences at different levels. So I would say anywhere from 2 or 3 up to 8 people would be in a network. Question 3, how does the program work during this pandemic? Well, as everything working in schools has become virtual, so has our program. We've continued to have our one-on-one meetings in a virtual setting using mainly Zoom. And we also have continued working with our networks, having candidates talk about their schools. Obviously, the one thing that we don't do up to this point is visit classrooms. But as things move along this year, as schools stay in a distance learning environment, I believe that there will be opportunities to actually look into classrooms through whatever platform schools are using. Question 4, what questions do you have that have not been answered? So if you have a question now, please put it in the chat. Answered.
Dr. Peterson, one of the questions that comes up continuously is there a deadline to register, or can they continuously register for the Tier 2 program? So that's one of the questions that we seem to get quite a bit.
And I'm going to ask Rachel to address that.
Yes, so there are deadlines for fall and spring semesters. For fall fall application, you do need to submit your application by September 30th. For spring applicants, the application would be due by March 1st.
Okay.
And then one other,
sorry. Go ahead, Ruthie.
One other question that comes up quite a bit is, can they count professional development outside and log that in also in addition to the meetings they attend with the Tier 2 program?
So I'll start with that and ask other executive coaches to chime in. Oftentimes, if a candidate is working on an element within one of the standards, and there's a professional development opportunity that aligns directly with the work that she or he is doing, I will work with them to provide opportunity to credit that additional professional development. And that is supported by a reflection about what did they learn and how they're going to apply it in their work. Kara, or I see some of our other executive coaches who work with Tier 2, Dr. Ward.
I would say that probably the way that our program is designed, however, is that it's an 80-hour total of program. And so those hours come from the network meetings and the one-on-one coaching every month. So professional development, like Shirley mentioned, is recognized, but mostly within your induction plan, and as part of that is credit.
And the 80 is a minimum number of hours.
Yes.
And so it is certainly possible to have additional hours within each semester. I'm going to ask my graduates, is there anything else that you would add to enable potential candidates with us today or future as this is being recorded to have a sense of your experience and encourage them to participate in the NCUS Tier 2 program?
Dr. Peterson, I guess what I would add is, you know, when I was looking around to figure out which program I was going to be a part of, I really spent a lot of time on it. I think I even talked to Rachel in the office saying, help me figure out what plan is good for me, because I really want to get something out of it. And so it took a lot of time to figure out where I wanted to go, but I had been to the NCUS symposium. I heard from Dr. Johnson, and I was aware of the impact that NCUS was making in urban schools and bringing to light best practices. And I had read the NCUS book, and I thought, you know, that's what's interesting to me. I want to go somewhere where I'm going to learn about what is working in urban schools. And so I know you have a lot of choices, and I certainly did my homework when I was selecting the program that was right for me, and I know that this was what was good for me, because I was able to grow a lot in the area that I needed to grow.
All right, so moving along then, I don't see any other.
There's one more question, and that question is related to program exit requirements. Can you briefly kind of go over that? I know you guys said it throughout, but can you give a brief kind of what the program exit requirements are, please?
Okay. Along with that, I just want to make sure there's clarity around course enrollment. You do enroll in courses that allows the university to apply credit for your 2-year participation, but the coursework and the professional development comes from all of the elements that we've discussed so far. So you don't go and sit in a class or read a book and make a report. It is all hands-on. It is all geared towards what it is that you are doing on a day-to-day basis in the role that you are holding within a school or a district. So in terms of the end of the 2 years, we do provide a portfolio presentation process. The portfolio is all of the artifacts and documents and data that you've collected around the work that you've done over the 2 years. And you identify 2 standards and the element within each of those 2 standards that you focused on to share with your cohort and other invitees, such as other executive coaches, to come and hear your presentation that you demonstrate, this is what I did, this is what I learned, And this is how I plan to continue to grow as I move forward in my career. So it is, as you've heard, really a celebratory time to be heard, to be asked questions about your work, to get feedback, and then again, to take that body of work that you've done, it just doesn't go back and sit on the shelf. As you've heard from our past candidates, it's things that you continue to work on, gaining more knowledge about, and expanding your knowledge and skills on the 6 standards that are part of our professional work in California.
Shirley, if I could add additionally, I think that, not to sound a little corny, but it is the truth that I think that every cohort creates their own little family as a group, and they really do rely on each other. And as one of the panelists mentioned, their connections outside of earning their clear credential is great. It's like a college cohort that you go through together, and you stay friends and support each other. And I know certainly for us coaches, we always continue to stay in touch with our candidates after they graduate.
Any other questions or comments from our panelists?
That concludes the chat box and the questions that I received.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to segue back to our Executive Director, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson, and thank you, Ms. Riggs. I want to also acknowledge other members of the NCUS team who are here in part because they are also looking forward to the possibility of serving as your executive coach if you choose to join this program. So you have heard the voice of Dr. Rupi Boyd. Rupi, do you want to just wave? And great. Also, we have with us today Dr. Jose Iniguez. Jose, great. And then Dr. Stanley Monroe is also on this call. And then Granger Ward is also one of our executive coaches who has provided support for our clear credential candidates. And then also Dr. Sid Salazar. I also want to thank 2 other members of our NCUS support team, Chris Urzadowski and Mark Wilson, who are also supporting this open house, as well, again, our Director of Operations, Karen Jones, and especially our colleague in the Educational Leadership Department, Dr. Rachel Stewart. And I especially want to thank our impressive graduates, Principal Marguerita Laurent, Principal Amy Rose, and Assistant Principal Liz Wong. We very much appreciate your willingness to come back and share a little of what you have learned and experienced. And finally, I want to thank all of you who are looking with interest at the possibility of joining us for this program. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and thanks for considering the possibility of working with us as you look to clear your administrative services credential. We very much look forward to working with you. We look forward to your success in the months and the years ahead. Thank you so much.